Baccarat is a card game played at casinos in several different versions. The most popular one, provided by most casinos, being Punto Banco, which we're going to discuss in this video. The basic rules. Punto Banco is played with 4, 6, or 8 decks shuffled together. It can be played with up to 12 or 14 players, but even one player can play alone against the casino. There are only 3 main bets to make: the player, punto, or banker, banco, plus tie, or the standoff. Tie is not recommended because of its high casino advantage. It's important to know the card values in Baccarat. Cards from 2 to 9 are worth face value. 10s and face cards are worth 0. Aces are worth 1 point. Also, hand values are a bit different to other card games, but not complicated. The score of a hand is the sum of all cards, modulo, 10, which is the equivalent of the rightmost digit. In other words, any sum that reaches 2 digits, drop the left digit. For example, a hand consisting of 6 and 7 would be 13, but by dropping the left digit, the hand value is 3. A hand consisting of 2 and 4 is 6, and there's no digit to drop, so the hand value is 6. A hand consisting of 3, 7, and 10 has the sum of 20, but it's actually worth 0 points. The word Baccarat is used for cards or hands worth 0 points. The best possible score in the game of Baccarat is 9, also called natural. Baccarat bets. Before the cards are dealt, you can place your bet on either the player, banker, or tie. The payoff for player and banker bet is 1-to-1. However, if you win a banker bet, the casino keeps a 5% commission from your bet, because banker bets have a lower casino advantage. The payoff for tie is usually 9-to-1 or 8-to-1, depending on specific house rules. This bet has the highest casino advantage of over 14%, and thus is not recommended in the long term. The objective of the game. Both dealer and player are dealt 2 cards. In some cases, an additional 3rd card is needed to determine the outcome of the game. The hand that is closer to 9 wins, and winnings are paid on corresponding bets. The purpose of the game is to bet on a winning outcome. 3rd card, if needed, is dealt according to 3rd card rules. These rules are compulsory and therefore automatically applied by the dealers. There is no need for a player to learn them. For curious players, the 3rd card rules are available on our site and are presented in a simple and easy to understand way. So let's look at some examples. You place a bet of $10 on the player. Cards are dealt. Banker receives a 7 and an ace for a hand value of 8. The player receives a 9 and a king for a hand value of 9. The player's hand value is higher and wins, so you get paid 1-to-1 for your bet. Another example, you place a $10 bet on tie. The cards are dealt. Banker receives a 10 and an 8 for a hand value of 8. The player receives a 3 and a 5 for a hand value of 8. Both hand values are equal. The tie bet wins and gets paid 9-to-1, which equals $90 plus the original bet is returned. Here are the 3rd card rules and some examples. If the player hand has a value of 0 to 5, he draws a 3rd card. If the player hand has a value of 6 or 7, he stands. If the player has a hand value of 8 or 9, that's called a natural, and both hands stand. After the player's hand receives a 3rd card, the banker's hand receives a 3rd card according to the following rules. If the banker has a hand value of 0 to 2, he draws a 3rd card. If the banker has a hand value of 3 to 6, he draws a 3rd card or stands depending on the player's 3rd card value. If the banker has a hand value of 7, he stands. If the banker has a hand value of 8 or 9, that's called a natural, and both hands stand. As mentioned before, there's no need to know these rules in order to play. Here are some examples of 3rd card rules applied. A $10 bet is placed on the player. Cards are dealt. Banker receives a 10 and a 4 for a hand value of 4. Player receives a 5 and a 2 for a hand value of 7. Player stands because of his hand value. A 3rd card is dealt automatically to the banker because of his hand value. Banker receives a 3 for a total hand value of 7. It's a tie. Bets on player or banker are lost. Next example. A $100 bet is placed on the banker. Cards are dealt. Banker receives a queen and a 3 for a hand value of 3. Player receives a 4 and a 10 for a hand value of 4. Player automatically draws a third card because his hand value is between 0 and 5. Player receives an ace for a total hand value of 5. Now, according to specific complex third card rules, banker draws a card and receives a 3. Total hand value is 6. Banker's hand wins. You get paid 1-to-1 with the casino keeping a 5% commission on the banker's bet. So the winning amount is $95 with the original $100.